Hey folks, this is Vint with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and today we're going to quickly check out Enshrouded. This is a game that you can currently find on Steam's Early Access program for about $30 or so. There is a 10% discount for a short period of time because the game just hit Early Access. So what is this game all about? Well, it's kind of like Valheim in the way it plays. It's an open world survival game. There's no food requirement, meaning like there's no hunger system. However, by eating food, you will actually buff your character. So eating is extremely important to keep your character alive. I mean, you can run around Valheim and, without eating, but chances are you're going to die. So kind of the same way here. So there is a limited character creator. You pick your hairstyle, your hair color. There's a couple of beard options, your voice line, sound, that kind of thing. It's very, very rudimentary. It's nothing to the extent of like Fallout 4 where you can individually grab the cheeks and, move things around. It does the job. It's fine the way it is. You can also, name your character, which is typical of a game like this. So whenever you go to create a game, you can either host a private game or you can host a public game. When you host a public game, you will have the option to password protect it. And from my understanding, the game actually supports up to about, I think, 16 people, although you really need a good computer to really play anything 6 or above. So just be warned of that. But that's really cool. I love that. So you can play single player or you can play, multiplayer with a password if you so choose to. So the game will kind of throw you out there, and you're going to be building a base. I mean, I've heard reviews say that it's not required that you build a base, and you can go around and do things. I disagree with that. Building a base is extremely important in this game because there's something called a rested bonus, and you have to be enclosed indoors around a flame. There's like 3 requirements needed to become rested, kind of like in Valheim. So, that's important. And also the crafting system, you need to craft better gear on a regular basis. You'll find loot in the environment, but 9 times out of 10, what I craft is better than what I find. So there's that. So I would disagree with some other reviewers. Base building in this game is extremely important. It's also frustrating. One of the pluses, the pros to this game, is the fact that it's not Minecraft-y in the way that, you destroy blocks. Rather, it's very, is it voxel? I don't know what the correct term is, but it's free. You're free to destroy things in the environment. It actually creates grooves rather than just open blocks, like in Minecraft. When you destroy the terrain, it actually, removes curves and, and you can actually fill things back in. Trying to build my first base was an exercise in futility almost, because I didn't know how to do it. I was actually trying to destroy the grass and then put rocks in its place. Here there was a foundation terrain option that I didn't see, and it just wasn't clearly marked. So I eventually got a base going, but I did it wrong for a half an hour, if that makes any sense. So yeah, you can freely destroy the environment, and I love that. It's if you want to get to a certain location, you could probably just dig to it. You know what I mean? If there's a mountain pass blocking you, rather than go up and around, you could spend the time to actually dig through the mountain. So there's that. I love the freedom to do that. That's really cool. There's no physics, though. So, if you create a path under the mountain, there's no cave-ins, for example. There's a lot of points of interest on the map. The map is fairly large, and you're going to find, abandoned houses, for example. You might have to deal with rats inside or whatnot, but there is an open world, and there's a lot of things to explore. You might find, old books that you can dismantle. Sometimes you'll even be able to cook at a little campfire. Those campfires are limited, so you have to continuously build them. They do run out over time. You'll find chests in the environment with various loot. And yes, there are magic weapons in this game as well, despite the fact that it's very medieval in the way it plays, swords and bows and stuff. There's still magical stuff, but there's magical ammo. So you have to find charges for those magical items, wands, staves. Anyway, one of the biggest pluses about this game is the skill tree. The skill tree is huge. It's huge. And I'm afraid to put points into it. Yes, you can respec, at the cost of relics, I think it is. It's something that you pick up, but still, like, it's huge. So you can become a survivor, you can become a trickster, a wizard, barbarian. You can sort of spread yourself out if you want. It's very Skyrim that way. But you earn skill points by leveling up rather than doing a thing continuously. Although you earn XP a number of different ways, mining, for example, earns you XP. So yeah, you can kind of specialize. And I think it's meant to be played multiplayer so that one player can be a ranger, one player can be a wizard, one player can be a barbarian, whatever. But you can spread yourself around a bit. The UI is admittedly, it takes some getting used to. For example, I played for a while not knowing there were tabs on the top. It was so small. I was looking for a basic bed and couldn't find it. And I'm like, well, here's the new bed, but what happened to the old bed I could craft? Well, here, there was little tabs on the top that I didn't see. It just wasn't clearly marked or defined. And then another example, building various terrain foundations, like, it's not clearly labeled as to what these things are. You have to hunt for it in the UI. You know what I mean? So again, I think the UI could stand to be improved in certain ways. I misclick often and take everything in the chest rather than auto-stacking, that kind of thing. So I would argue that the UI isn't exactly 100% user-friendly. Yes, I mean, it's functional. There's auto-stacking, which is great. I love that. And you can sort things as well. There are various storage chests. That's my bread and butter right there. I love games that let me hoard. That's just my thing. There's an RPG system, so you're going to be equipping various, headgears, chest gears, all that stuff. And you're going to be finding equipment in the environment or crafting it yourself. Although this game is extremely grindy. It takes forever really to do much of anything, especially metal scraps, which are really hard to find. There are no like mines that you can get metal scrap from. You have to continuously kill enemies that will respawn every few days. It's just annoying. Metal scrap is so hard to find in my current playthrough. The map is static, by the way. It's not procedurally generated, so that's a thing as well. As far as like equipment is concerned, there is durability, but if you go to a workbench, it'll automatically repair everything for you, which is really nice. I love that. The base that you have, the whole shtick is that you've got this flame altar thing. You can upgrade your flame altar, and it will buff your character and the time in the shroud, which I'll get to later, in a number, of different ways. You'll be wanting to spend resources to upgrade your character and upgrade your base so that you get more powerful, which is really good. So there's no weight limit either. You can cook food in this game, like I was saying earlier, and you can consume food, but it's mainly to benefit your character. This food might increase your intelligence to improve your magic skills. Another food might increase your dexterity or your stamina regeneration or whatnot. Or your maximum health. So you can have 3 different food items consumed at a time, and this will give you buffs. Again, it's not necessary that you do this, but the game rewards you for doing these things. Again, think Valheim and the way it goes. So I love that. No weight limit and, no hunger requirement, no sleep requirement, nothing like that. So that's good. You'll also find characters, like a blacksmith, for example, in the environment, and it just opens up a new line of crafting. So you'll want to find these characters and get them. I don't know what other ones there are. I'm 7.5 hours into this game so far. And I'm still like in the starter area. Yes, you can glide, as you can see there. You'll eventually build a glider. There's no flying, but you can glide, which is kind of cool. And the whole idea of this game really, and I'll kind of touch on the whole, reason why you're playing this. There's something called, the Shroud. Whenever there are areas on the map that have this corrupted thing going on. I don't know the whole story. I'm less of a lore guy and more of a build my base kind of guy. But you're on a timer. If you go into a shroud, you've got like 5 minutes by default until you upgrade your base to extend that to get out of there. And if you don't, you're dead. Speaking of death, you drop everything that isn't in your hotbar. which is a thing. And there are, again, no customization settings. That's something I wish the developers would add. No difficulty settings, no customization, no ways to like increase loot drops by ×3 like you can in, say, Ark Survival Evolved or POW World. There's also no like, if you want to craft something, you have to have it in your inventory. If it's in a chest somewhere, you have to get it. I wish when you're crafting, it would pull from the chests, like in POW World, for example. I would appreciate that little quality of life thing. But anyway, getting back to the whole Shroud thing, like I said, there are areas on the map that are corrupted. You go down there and you get resources. The whole idea is to discover why the Shroud is there. And there are bosses and like this rot tree thing that you can kill in order to lift the Shroud in some ways. Now, you can refresh your 5-minute timer or whatever your timer is when you're down there. Like there are certain things that you can interact with that will bring your timer back up to 5 minutes, but then you're back on that countdown again. So like you're on a rush. And my fiance loves that about this game. I don't like to be rushed. That's just a pet peeve in anything I do. I don't like to be rushed. So when there's a 5-minute timer, my anxiety kicks in full blown. And I want to take time to explore the enshrouded areas, but like I can't because I'm on a timer. So she loves that. She loves that countdown timer, whereas I'm less inclined to like it. So I spend less time in there, and because the risk of death is real, and when you die, you drop everything. You can go back to your corpse and pick everything up, and the game will even be nice to you. And if you like fall down a pit or something, it'll respawn all your gear back at the top so that you don't have to go down there and get it, which is really cool. I love that. So, I will say, functionally, the game is not fully optimized yet. My fan is running pretty high, even on the performance setting. I mean, I do have an NVIDIA 3000 card, so I can run Starfield and other games pretty well, and my RAM is up to date as well, so it does fine. I've got, I think, my PC specs in the description, but still, like, I've had to actually reduce the graphics in this game to its lowest setting in certain places because my fan was just getting too loud. And even then, I still get this weird skipping. So the game is still early access, I get that, but I just have to warn you, there are instances where the game doesn't feel like it's fully fleshed out yet. And it's early access, that stands to reason. So, aside from that, we're having a great time with this game. Again, I feel like the game is better multiplayer than it is single player, but it is totally playable solo. And the game really emphasizes an action RPG of sorts. You're going to be diving, you're going to be blocking, these enemies are fairly easy to deal with. I'm not going to say they're easy, but they tend to have the same combat animations. This guy will swing 4 times and then he pauses. And then his other animation is he'll swing 3 times and do this gigantic thing, and then you can hit him again. So there are patterns to these guys, and once you learn them, they're pretty easy to deal with, regardless of what gear you're using, but still, it takes time. So yeah, we're enjoying the game, we're really liking it, and our first impressions are really good. My biggest pet peeves really are the lack of customization, server customization options. I wish I could make the difficulty easier or harder. I wish I could up the resource gain when mining things out or collecting things like I can in Ark Survival Evolved or other games of this genre. I wish I could edit things. Valheim, it took them years to implement custom difficulty sliders. I hope that the case is not. I hope that the same thing does not happen here. I hope the developers plan to add ways to customize your game, and that way I can fine-tune the difficulty the way I want it to be. So, we are enjoying this game. We are having a great time with it. It's very grindy, though. I just have to warn you of that. And again, the optimization could be improved, and I hope it does over the course of early access. Other than that, there's nothing really to talk about. The biggest reason I wanted to get this was not for the combat, but for the base building. But I have to warn you again that the base building in this game can be a bit frustrating, especially those terrain tools. If you like a nice flat base and OCD is a thing for you, messing with the terrain and trying to get it to get flat again is a pain in the butt. I'm just saying. So I just want to warn you of that. But like, again, aside from that, we jump into this for hours at a time. And I love how diverse and extensive the skill tree is. I just wish we earned more skill points more often. Again, 7.5 hours in, I've only got like 7 or 8 skill points. So I'm really afraid to spend them because I don't know what I really want to do yet. But this game has a lot of potential, and I'm looking forward to playing more of it. So there you go, folks. That was Enshrouded. Definitely check this game out if you enjoy Valheim and other open worldy style games. This is Vince. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you all next time. Take care.